Standing in Arbory, Castletown and Malew, Tim Glover is joining us. This is obviously slightly weird because we both had this conversation about we like to be in control of interviews, don't we? I mean, it's different.
It's a very different experience, and of course the other thing from working at Manx Radio is that you're not allowed to indicate or give away any of your opinions. It's completely neutral, so it is a marked change from what I'm used to from 24 years at Manx Radio in the newsroom, yes.
Well, I saw you at the weekend, and you did kind of indicate that you thought about this 5 years ago. Even. I mean,
yes, I did.
What stopped you then?
It just didn't feel the right time. When I went to Manx Radio, I left Barclays Private Bank, as it was at the time, and I felt if I didn't, I got offered a job at Manx Radio, and I felt if I didn't take it, I might regret it. And I don't want to live a life of regrets. And I've got that very same feeling this time. And again, I don't think you're only here once, and don't live with regrets.
Well, of course, previous news editor Jeff Cannell went down this route, and now other people from Manx Radio are going. But let's get down to the details. I mean, what are you, when you go door knocking, what are the big things you're telling people you're standing for?
Well, it's more, I'm trying to find out what people want themselves. I mean, that's part of, I think, the door-knocking exercise.
Yeah, but you're going to hear everything, aren't you? You've got to come in with your views.
Of course I have, and the examples I'm using are we've got to recover economically from the pandemic. That's a given, because without the money coming into the coffers, government isn't able to spend its money on health and on infrastructure and education. The other is affordable housing. Mental health I use as an example where I think a bigger, broader strategic view needs to be taken, rather than just throwing some more money at mental health and some more resource into it and thinking that's done. You've got to look at the issues as to why we've got an increase in mental health issues and well-being. So that it could be, for example, poverty. It can be a lack of affordable housing, bringing that one back in.
This is definitely the hot subject. Everyone's talking about this affordable housing. Yeah. I'm asking everyone the same thing, really. How are you going to sort it out? What is the answer to it?
Well, I think we need to look at the schemes that government currently runs. They've got the rent to buy, they've got the first time buyers schemes, all of which seem to be completely out of date with where the market is currently. Do we set, for example, rental caps on people who are renting out properties, because some of the rents are bigger than you'd pay if you were paying the mortgage.
But it's
now.
Supply and demand, isn't it?
It is, but I think government can look at the issue, understand the issue, and then come up with some solutions.
Dangerous territory, though, isn't it? The government controlling things. I mean, surely you're not
otherwise,
in favour of that?
Well, in this case, I think I am, because we've got an ageing population. We've got to be able to keep the young here. Because they're going to be contributing to the economy, and if they can't afford a house or even afford to rent a house, what are they going to do? They're probably going to leave the island. We're seeing that happening already, and really in our own interests, we don't want to rely on just an ageing population. We're not going to get too far with that. We need to make it attractive for youngsters, and part of that, of course, is being able to have somewhere to live. And we've got the problem as well with the public housing, because the lists there for people who want to have a house are astronomical at the moment. Talk to Housing Matters, they'll tell you they're dealing with cases. They're almost run off their feet dealing with this issue. So it's something I think the next administration has to tackle and has to understand what the situation is first.
You've followed, obviously, government goings on. How is it almost frustration that's made you decide also to get involved? Because we sit on the press benches sometimes, putting like, oh my gosh, what on earth is going on here? Is that the sort of thing you're going to be able to change things in there?
Well, I've said straight away, I want to be very open, transparent, honest. I want to be understanding as well of what people are facing. That's why I'm embarking on 3 months of trying to knock on every door within the constituency of Arbory, Castletown and Malew, to listen to people, hear their views, and I want to be open and honest with them and talk to them in that way. I think too many times we don't get an answer to a straightforward question. Can we change that, please? And we need like-minded people. I can't do that on my own. I can't change affordable housing or anything bolstering the economy on my own, because I'll just be if elected, and what an honour that would be. I'm only one of 24, so we've got to have like-minded people who are prepared to go in and be open and transparent about the whole process and be upfront with people and hold your hands up if you've got something wrong, because I think people view people better when they do admit to getting something wrong, and you will in 5 years.
Yeah. Any comment on the current members, though? Because obviously, both of them are re-standing, as far as I'm aware. Well, actually, one only has come out so far, but the potential is, what's your views on them?
Neither have declared, I don't think,
Haven't
just
they
yet.
Oh, right.
So
okay. I know there are some things in the pipeline as usual, but
yeah, I'd expect them to declare, and let's have an open and honest debate about things. We've got a lot of meetings to come. We've got a lot of door knocking to do. So
it's a strange constituency, though, isn't it? Because people get more votes in whatever their home sector is, almost. I understand, almost.
Yes, but you've got to go in not representing just Arbory in my case.
Yeah.
I have, I grew up in Castletown, that's my hometown, and then when my parents retired and moved to Derby Haven, I was living in Malew, so I have lived in all three parts of the constituency, and you've got to view it as a big constituency. You try and represent everybody to the best of your ability, and realistically that's the only promise you can make, is to go in and do your damnedest to represent the people of that constituency, but also you've got to represent the people of the Isle of Man as well.
What's your skill set? Where is you're going to be fitting best in government?
I know how to ask questions. I know how to hold people to account. I know how to investigate matters. And I know how to listen to people as well.
Which department?
That's not for me to say, is it?
No, but I'm asking you, what would you like to do? You must have
I don't want to just go in and be shouting from the sidelines, but I will.
So you would go into government?
If asked, yes.
Yes.
And you've got to be asked in the first place.
Uh-huh.
And there may well be quite a few new members. So I don't want to... I'm going to call out things I think are wrong. And not be constrained by being a member of a department, and that.
Well, that's tricky. Though. You can say one thing, but when it comes down to it,
it is, and it isn't, because you've got to go in with principles in the first place, and the structure now, the pay, which got obviously debated quite a lot. Members are now on the same salary in the new administration. They're not going to be paid an extra bump up, if you like, for being a member of a department. So I think that in itself should help Tynwald have the primacy back again, which I think is really important.
I'm going to push you. Where would you like to go? If
if you press me and I was able to give some, perhaps education, sport and culture.
And who do you see leading the next administration?
You know what I'm going to answer here already, don't you?
No, I don't actually.
I don't know. We don't. None of us know. It's looking into a crystal ball. I know we've heard that phrase quite a lot of time, but people have got to get re-elected first. Let's not forget that. Okay. And then they've got to...
So you're keeping your powder dry on that
absolutely. And I will not be pressed.
But you will be voting at some point.
Of course I will.
You know that it's going to be someone who's already in there, let's face it.
It is, but let's see who gets in, and then see who is going to be a candidate for Chief Minister, and then listen to what they say that fits in as close to your manifesto as can humanly be possible. Now,
I'm going back to press conferences, because early days when we were still doing it in the room, things got very heated at one stage. Government were not answering the questions. You were pushing hard. We were all getting ourselves a name for being rebels and that sort of thing. So how do you view this administration? I mean, do you think it's been... Well, what I'm asking you, what do you think?
I think we've been incredibly lucky to have the 7 months that we had over the summer. I think they've done remarkably well, considering nobody knew how to handle a global pandemic. There wasn't exactly a book they could take off the shelf and look up, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. You're being generous,
because I'm trying to push you on
the third lockdown.
Right.
And we picked up, obviously, on the steam packet situation. I think eyes were off the ball a bit, and we maybe could have mitigated that to a greater degree than has happened.
And with the borders, for instance, now, would you have gone for this? Would you have voted to
I'm
open
being
up?
asked that a lot, and it comes with risk. But I think there comes a time, we've got the vaccination programme rolled out. I know it doesn't stop people getting it and spreading it, the COVID-19, but we've got to open up at some time, haven't we? For the sake of the island and its economy. It's a very fine judgment, and if they've got it wrong, well, I think let's bring in those restrictions just to ease things back down again.
Very quickly, final question. Do you see, if you got in, would you be a career politician? This would be your sort of future role? I mean, and if you didn't get in, what would you do? Would you Manx ready again, or what would you do?
I don't know.
You haven't thought about plan B?
No.
Okay.
That is, I think, show my commitment to wanting to be, and I'd be honoured to be an MHK for the patch that I am from, and I care about more than any other, but I also very much care about the island as a whole, and I'm very proud of the Isle of Man. But if I didn't get in, well, it's a whole new ball game. We'll deal with that when we get in, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.